Jen Milks, welcome to the David Nurse Show. It is an honor and a pleasure to have you on here. I think you are one of the most brilliant minds in nutrition and health optimization that I have been around, and that's saying a lot. I've been around for a while, Jen. I'm feeling, feeling older and older as the days go on here. But I think there's something to be had in this conversation with. Maybe there's a way that you can help me reverse my aging. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I know with your understanding of genetics and DNA that we'll get into the weeds on some of the stuff like that. But let's start this off, Jen, with a bang. So as a CEO, an entrepreneur, and it's got your MBA, like so many, you can just, the list goes on and on of the accolades and the letters with periods and degrees that you have behind your name. But start us off with a bang, Jen. Something different about you that most people have no idea about.
Oh, geez,
I know.
David, putting it right off the bat.
Yeah,
Okay.
how we do it. We do it.
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I might not look like it, but I'm a nerd, right? So I kind of fell in love with this whole, nutrition, DNA. You ever read something, or you ever look at something, or you ever take something and think, it's like that aha moment. And you and I have had this discussion before, but have you ever just like looked at something and went, oh my gosh, this is where I belong. This is, there's something to this. Well, that kind of happened to me back in 2014 when I started kind of looking at DNA and nutrition and how we absorb and utilize nutrients as humans and how that differs for every single one of us. I worked in Western medicine as I ran a surgical, which I don't think you know this actually. I ran a surgical unit, a surgical center for almost 10 years. I was pre-med. I wanted to be a surgeon. I had friends that were medical doctors that were really excited for me to get into the field and start, getting into their practice. And one day I woke up and went, over this collection of years, as I'm sitting here listening to these patients say, is there anything that I can do that would help keep me from this predicament or this situation or this, possible disease or this genetic, variation that I've got that's been passed down from, family member to family member? Is there anything natural or proactive or preventative that I can do? And honestly, the answer in Western medicine really is kind of no. And especially back then, it was definitely no. So I kind of started to think about this a little bit and go, but is there? And I'm curious. I'm always curious. And I always want to dig a little deeper. And, we tested certain genetic variants to see, why somebody would be having specific problems. Like, let's say MTHFR for reoccurrent miscarriages. Well, when I dug into that methylation pathway, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this, right? So I went to one of my friends who happens to be one of the best gynecological surgeons in the state of Florida. And I told him, I said, look, here's the deal. I'm not going to be a surgeon. I'm not going to finish this out. I'm going to do something more natural and holistic and look at health from a different perspective, right? From a whole body versus just a piece. And I remember this like it was yesterday. We stood in the parking lot of the hospital and he looked at me and he said, you're never going to make anything of yourself. You are missing out on the opportunity. I think you would be the best surgeon. You're missing out. You're never going to make anything out of yourself. I'm really disappointed in you. And he has not spoken to me since.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine
Wow.
starting at all excited that you find out this is my calling. This is where I'm going. Yeah. And the person who you've learned from for 10 years and you look up to says, you know what? I don't think you're going to do anything. I'm disappointed in you and you're not going to make anything of yourself.
You know what? It's an incredible segue, Jen, to just the chip on the shoulder mentality that you derive from that. And it's funny because almost everybody that I've spoken to, and the famous singers, actors, just high performers, have some moment in their life that they can pinpoint where somebody told them, you will never become anything. You will not make something of yourself. And just for the audience listening, I think it's a really great teaching point just to take a step back from and realize whoever is saying that to you, they have something internally that they are struggling with and they are projecting it upon you. So their fears, their just uncertainties and inequity, like they are putting it upon you so that you feel their burden. And it's not a reflection of you. You obviously,
Right.
you made something of yourself, but it can be very debilitating when someone says that to you. So everybody out there listening, we all have that. Every successful person does have that. So don't feel like you're alone in that. And did that lead you to just like, were you on a mission from that? Because I want to talk about the company that you've started, and we'll get more into the optimization, nutrition, some more DNA stuff later on. But GOEXEC, was that a spark to lead like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong, I'm going to start this company? Or was it just completely, all separate entities there?
Well, I mean, it led up to that, right? But my goal was, I was kind of taken back, of course, as anybody would be, right? You're taken back by this. You kind of start to self-doubt a little bit. And, for me, it was like, okay, I think you're wrong. And yes, it was a I'm going to prove you wrong kind of scenario. But GoExec didn't, launch or was born until, just this year. And we're talking, this was back in 2012, maybe
Oh, okay. So this was
2013. This
years
was
prior.
forever ago, right? So this was a long time ago. And of course, every step that I've taken up into this point has, yes, led me to this. And I knew this was not the end game, because in my mind, there isn't an end game, right? There's always more. There's always, done next, done next, done next. But it definitely led me to the steps to say, okay, I thought I knew what I wanted. I'm going to do something totally different, and I feel really good about this. And one of these days I'm going to call him up, and I haven't yet, but one of these days I'm going to call him up and just kind of just na 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 boo boo, And I know he was upset because he wanted me to join his practice and he was excited about that. But
Sure.
it was a long, long journey to get to this point, and lots of stepping stones in the process, including helping other brands build themselves as well and formulating for a lot of other amazing companies before I was able to launch my own company.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That is fascinating. The behind the scenes that it takes before you launch your own company. It's kind of like the writers of massive songs before they step out and become singers on their own. But you did step out and become a singer on your own, creating GOEXEC. And I really want to focus on just the what is it, what is the mission behind it, and then this secret hidden, not secret hidden, but people don't know about BioPQQ. So let's
Mhm.
break that down. Tell us about the mission of GOEXEC, what it is going to help everybody listening with, and then what exactly is BioPQQ, and why is that kind of like this is the next thing I think in optimization?
It's the one to watch out for sure, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about why. But GoExec was created, right? Our mission has been to extend to every generation to help people optimize their performance, right? You said human, optimization, right? So human performance optimization or HPOs, so to take that and take away the scientific component of it, we're here to support you regardless of your age, your journey, your job. This is for the go-getters. This is for the young at heart, the wise, and the experimentative, the experienced ones, excuse me, the ones that have done it, but still want to be in the moment and be smart and do the things they want to do. It's for the go-getters. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're just somebody who's a weekend warrior, whether you're an executive of the home, all of that was irrelevant. We came here to say, you know what? We want to do things differently. We're not going to just I do not formulate based on ingredient choice, right? Yes, we're going to talk about a specific ingredient, but I got there because I formulate based on pathways. I formulate based on how to best optimize human performance. So we just want everyone to feel good mentally and physically, no matter what stage of life you're at, no matter where you are in your career, no matter if you're retired, it doesn't matter. We've got all sorts of amazing people in this community so far, and just creating that physical and mental balance as well.
Quick 20-second timeout in the podcast. I have to tell you what I am currently doing in my diet and my nutrition that I'm just, I'm obsessed about it. I really am. Maui Nui venison. It is the best venison, high protein, sustainably sourced. Check this out. So Maui Nui venison, they come from the axis deer in Maui, and they are packed with protein. In 55 calories, you get 10 grams of protein. You know how important protein is, and I'm trying to pack it on, add some muscle, and this is my go-to. You can get the venison jerky, the ground meat, the sirloins, the steaks, the bone broth, the organs even. The list goes on and on. Maui Nui venison. And that is Maui, M-A-U-I, Nui, N-U-I, venison, venison.com. And what they are doing for my listeners alone, are giving 20% off, code NURSE at checkout for 20% off your order of Maui Nui venison. Get your protein on. Oh my gosh, you are going to thank me for this. And there is a code and a link in the show notes, mauinuivenison.com, NURSE for 20% off. Go check it out.
Yeah. And so where does BioPQQ come into that? Where is that the difference maker in sharpening the mind and just giving people more balance and focus, and just talk on what that is and why that is a game changer?
It is. And, I'm so excited about this product. And this was actually the baby, right? The main component behind the formulation of Apex Mind and Body is because BioPQQ is a natural substance, right? So it's got over 40 years of data. You might not have heard it, about it recently, but there are scientific and clinical studies for over 40 years on this particular ingredient. You'll hear PQQ a lot, but all the data is around BioPQQ. And why is that? Well, it makes it a little bit more bioavailable. It's the fermentation, right? So the goal of this is to be able to enhance cognition, bring longevity, and anti-aging of the brain. So I think
hold down on that. Anti-aging of the brain.
Yes.
Anti-aging of the brain. So BioPQQ is to keep the brain sharp and keep it young and even decrease the actual age of the brain. That's what this is doing.
Correct.
Is there anything else like this out there? Is this the like creme de la creme of how to, I mean, I'm sure there's obviously a lot of things you can do and continued learning and hyperbaric chambers and stuff like that. But as far as a formula, is this the top?
As a master formulator who's formulated hundreds of products, this is it. This is the gem. This is the one I've been waiting to put into a product, and I held on to this little thing for myself. It's super powerful in the way that in clinical studies, right? It's the most studied ingredient of its kind to help with brain cognition by protecting nerve cells, improving cognitive function, better sleep, better mood, lowered stress. All these things that it does through your mitochondria. When I started in the genetic realm, I fell in love with mitochondria. I was like, this is
power
amazing.
cells. For everybody, mitochondria is basically the power cells that you have.
That fuels your cells to do all the biochemical processes you have to do on a daily basis. Your mitochondria starts dying and getting weak and you're not feeding it properly, well, then you're going to feel it, right? Mentally and physically. So BioPQQ actually has been known in studies to be better at increasing mitochondrial biogenesis, right, which is the growth of the mitochondria within the cell. It actually, by 5 to 1,000 times better than NMN, which they're actually going to be pulling from the market because they're actually taking it into the...
What is NMN? What is MNN?
MNM is MNN. MN.
Sounds like M&Ms. Yeah.
No. NMN. So it's a form of it's a precursor for NAD+, right? So I'm sure you've heard of NAD, and that's what it does is it enhances NAD, but it doesn't enhance mitochondria as well.
And then tell the audience what NAD is. I know you know, but a lot of people out there do not know. So what is NAD? It's a precursor for NAD. NAD
is a precursor to your mitochondria, right? So if you're going from these biochemical pathways, the end goal when it comes to this is to enhance mitochondria. Okay. So you have ATP, right? So NAD, NMN, all these particular ingredients enhance ATP levels or adenosine triphosphate in the body, right? To put more energy into the cell to enhance mitochondria so that way your body can function more optimally, right? So you bring things clearer, your muscles are better.
I just want to make sure I clarify for everybody listening. You're like, all these letters she's saying, you're so smart. We got to break it down to the simple for people. So it's energy in the cell is what this is doing. Okay, got it. Beautiful. That's it.
Correct. So it's literally infusing your cells with energy.
Oh,
That's what mitochondria does, and that's what BioPQQ has been proven to do 500 to 1,000 times better than ingredients that will enhance NAD and ATP, such as resveratrol and NMN, which they're actually going to be pulling off the market soon.
wow. Okay, so this is the thing you're going to pretty much just energize your cells. This is kind of sustained energy that I'm seeing. Does this help with, like I say, I've got great energy in the morning and then I get a little tired in the afternoon. My energy wavers. I'd say you got kids running around, you got a zillion things going on, you got stress. Like, is this going to help continue to have that energy you have in the morning and sustain it throughout the day?
That's the goal, right? And that was the goal when formulating Apex, is to be able to have sustainable. It wasn't about the energy and the speed, right? Caffeine, energy, speed, go, 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 go. But then you have a crash, where I wanted to create sustainable energy, both mentally and physically. And that's what one of the components, which is BioPQQ, does. Yes.
Oh, that's great. I mean, that breaks it down to the simple. So literally a way to sustain the energy that you have throughout the day is BioPQQ, found in Apex, the formulation made by GOEXEC. There it is. That is, and you know what's challenging, Jen? It is when people, they're not familiar with it yet. They will be familiar with it. You're almost ahead of your time in this, and that's what trailblazers and trendsetters do. What is the biggest struggle that you find in growing this company where you almost like, and I get it, you're like, hey, I'm screaming from the mountaintop. How do you not hear this? Like, do you hear how great this is? There's all these clinical studies done. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question, David.
Yeah.
So it is tough, right? And I've kind of been dealing with that the majority of my career, because my career has been based on nutrigenomics and understanding how the body absorbs and utilizes nutrients based on each and individual person. And that's confusing, and that's tough to for a lot of people to digest and to understand. So I think that the hardest part about getting eyes on the brand, right? Getting people to understand why we're here and what we're doing, is it's a saturated industry. There are a lot of supplement companies, and I love that, though. I actually love that there's a lot, because that means that people are interested. People want to do proactive and preventative things and feel better. But being different sometimes is lonely.
That's
It's
great.
lonely when you're different sometimes, right? And getting people to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how this is doing it differently and better in some cases. So that's been a struggle, and you've been a great help, and I hope really appreciate that. But it'll get there. It's just the constant education, right? People just need to be educated. They need to understand why we're here, what we're doing, and why this is so powerful, and why this took so much time to develop.
You know that feeling when you are just recharged? You don't have any sickness, no ailments. You have full, optimal energy. You are functioning at your highest level. You want to recreate that? Yeah, sure. You do. I do. We all do. And then you can times it by 10. What I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. So hold on here. This is real. Hyperbaric chamber. If you don't know what it is, look it up right now. Look up Eleve Health. ELEVE health.com. It's an oxygen miracle. What it is, HBOT, hyperbaric chamber. It's a simple and non-invasive therapy where you go into this. It places a body in a pressurized environment that allows extra oxygen to dissolve in the blood plasma and travel freely throughout your circulatory system, getting more red blood cells flowing naturally to the body's function. It's going to help you kill off any harmful bacteria. It's going to help you detox, increase your oxygen concentration, resist and fight infection, heal wounds faster, improve oxygen supply, reduce swelling, stop infection, lower inflammation, all while you're relaxing in the chamber. I kid you not. This is what the pros, the top Olympic athletes, what everybody uses for the highest optimization recovery. This is called Hyperbaric Chamber, HBOT, from Eleve Health, ELEVE health.com. GOEXEC.com. Message me separately too if you want to get a specific deal on this. Check it out as you're a sports team, if you're an individual, if you're just somebody who loves optimization. It will be an absolute life changer for you.
Ah, Jen, I love that. I think it's another phenomenal teaching point that you're hitting on, is that when you're doing something on mission and a bigger purpose, that it will feel lonely. You will feel like you are standing out and being different. And it might be tough. I mean, it is tough, but to forego the mission that you know is going to help so many people would just be a disservice to yourself and a disservice to others, even when it is lonely, even when it is difficult, even when you are trudging up the mountains feeling like you're walking in cement boots. You will get there. And when you do, you'll be at the top with the momentum of the boulder rolling downhill and just picking up everything in its way, creating an avalanche of BioPQQ and Apex formula, which is, it's coming. It's coming. And every entrepreneur, every business owner has had these struggles. Most people don't see these struggles because we hear about the companies after they've gone through these struggles. And that's the exciting journey and the exhilarating challenge that you're on. So I commend you for that, Jen. Commend you big time for that. I want to tap into your expertise, knowledge as well in so many different areas. And you had mentioned it prior, of the formulations that you have created. And we were just having a conversation off air a couple of days ago about creating whey protein formulas and creating different formulas. Like, to you, it seems like nothing. To me, it seems just crazy, incredibly difficult. How many formulas have you created? And can you tell us some types of formulas? Like, I mentioned whey protein, but what other types of formulas should people be taking? Let's even go that far. Now, I know I'm asking a lot here. There's a lot in this. This is in everything is determined by, differences. People are different. They work on, like, everything is subjective to the different people. But what would be some of the best formulas you've created and ones you think are staples for everybody that they should be taking? There it is.
Loaded. Love it. So I've done a lot. I collectively thousands of different products based on whether it's, based on DNA analysis and interpretation, whether it's based on a single ingredient for different companies. But the thing that I love that I get to do is when a CEO of a nutraceutical company says, you know what, I have something really difficult. Who am I going to call? I'm going to call Jen. So they know they can call me when they have something challenging and different, because I love that. That's my goal. I mean, that's what I love. If you come at me with, you're like, okay, this has never been done. 2, this might be impossible. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's go. So some complex formulations I've done is like helping the body produce and create collagen without actually giving collagen, right? That's kind of challenging and difficult, to say the least. And different synergistic, right? So taking this really long molecule that's collagen and breaking it down and understanding how the body is going to be able to produce its own and how to enhance that through supplementation took me about 6 months to understand what this is going to look like and how I can move forward with this one. So that was a really complex formulation, but it was fun. Probiotic world is a school of its own, right? So you can take every nutrition class, every class you possibly could imagine when it's coming to nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Probiotics should be taught completely separate, because there's pro,
I get so confused with that. So should we be taking any probiotic, prebiotic, iotics?
That's right.
We should be taking those.
I told you before, what's my typical answer is it depends, right? So because I know genetically that everybody's different and there is a gene that exists, right, that says if you can absorb nutrients properly in the microbiome and if you have healthy microbiome without taking lifestyle into consideration. But because of everything that we're exposed to exogenously, because of the lifestyles, it's hard to be perfect even if you try. So yes, I do recommend probiotics to take. How much is going to differ for everyone? You don't need the 50 billion gazillion CFUs. It's more about being targeted and precise versus just taking an overload that's just going to saturate the microbiome with all these different that bacteria that maybe it doesn't know how to absorb properly.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, what else? Let's just say this is a question for myself, and I know a lot of people listening. Let's just say I'm trying to be as healthy as I possibly can. What should I be taking? You can use generalities here. You can get as in the weeds and detailed as possible. We talked about the probiotics there. What else should I be taking to just optimize my health? Obviously, BioPQQ is going to be one that is needed to be taken, but what else should we be taking?
Apex, of course, is number one.
Yeah,
So we're going to start
Apex,
there.
for sure. Yes, definitely.
Let's
Seriously,
start with
like,
Apex, mind, and body.
and here's what's cool. We have a discount for anybody listening that wants to try out Apex. Trust me, try it. You'll love it. I love it. I tell Jen, I send her pictures before I go on stage of speaking engagements where I'm taking it to get locked in and my brain on fire. But keep going. Okay, what else should we take?
Yep. So vitamin D3 is a huge one. I think even no matter your genetics, no matter your lifestyle, geographic location, of course, is going to differ. But a lot of people are under this false understanding that, well, I'm in the sun a lot, so I don't need to take vitamin D. But that actually is not true. And we found in clinical research that a lot of those people still have low vitamin D levels in their blood work because, well, you only absorb the first 15-ish minutes or so. And then after that, it doesn't convert it to the active form of vitamin D, which you can use in the body. So taking an exogenous vitamin D3 is important. The dosage will vary. A lot of clinical studies will show that 10,000 IUs a day is significant and good. That's how much I take. Again, maybe even getting blood work done to make sure that you're taking the right amount is smart too, but definitely vitamin D3.
That's fascinating. You're speaking right to me. I literally had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and I told him, no, I'm in the sun plenty. I don't need it. So, wow. Okay, D3. Hey, keep going, Jen. I love this. What else?
Magnesium glycinate. Magnesium is great. So there's different forms of magnesium. If you have problems with bowel movements, we'll just do the poop talk. Everybody does the poop talk. So let's do it. Magnesium citrate works best, but overall, I like magnesium glycinate, right? It's best for the brain. It helps calm the central nervous system. If you have somebody who says, you know what, I just can't shut my brain off at night to fall asleep, magnesium glycinate will definitely help with that.
Wow.
So it helps with muscles, relaxing muscles, relaxing the mind, relaxing the central nervous system. So just to kind of give an overview of things, there's also little nitty-gritty things that I could throw in there as well that would be good to take, but definitely magnesium glycinate before bed.
Oh, this is so good. Okay, because that's another huge one. When people that I talk to, high performers, or a lot of people just have that racing mind they cannot shut off. Magnesium glycinate. Okay, any other ones that are going to go? Like I've got my little travel pack here of Jen Milk's vitamins. Like what else am I throwing in there?
Vitamin C. You got to throw your vitamin C in there, right?
Ooh, okay.
So vitamin C is a cofactor for so many different things, including collagen production, actually. So, but bringing vitamin C will help, build and boost your natural collagen production. It's great for the skin. It's great for the immune system. It's great for energy. It's great for a lot of things. So that's another big one that I would throw in there is also taking your vitamin C on a daily basis.
Okay, this is great. You need to have like an affiliate link to like all of these ones that you recommend and different ones that the brands that you have. Any other ones that would go in that package? Or are those just like the big three and everything else is kind of ancillary?
Well, I mean, there's, depending on the season, right? There's zinc, taking your zinc for, immunity around right before cold season, of course. So there's ones that you would take during the seasons that would differ. Another one that I really like, and you know me, I'm all about brain function, is an algae-based DHA. You can pair it and couple it with an EPA as well. That's great for the eyes and the heart. I like algae-based because I've learned in my formulation studies how they make fish oil. Ugh. So they heat it, they boil it.
Yeah, it's not good, is it? Fish oil. Oh, yes. I'm glad you agreed with that. I've heard that and known that, and wow. Okay. So fish oil, throw it out.
Algae based. So you kind of skip, right? Where did the fish get it from? The algae. So you skip the middleman, you go straight for the algae. Doing an algae based DHA EPA is a great source. I have formulated one as well that was actually quite a lot of fun. But I would do that because it's great for the brain. It's great for the heart. It's great for the eyes. There's a lot of good stuff that comes with omegas.
It's just so good. You realize I am going to message you after this and say, hey, which spot should I order all these from? Because I'm going to do so. And is that kind of the the power package right there? Is there anything else you throw in there? I mean, that's some good stuff. That is some really good stuff you've given us.
So on a daily, well, what do I take? I take a ubiquinol, ubiquinone combination, right? So have you ever heard somebody say, oh, my doctor told me I should take CoQ10 because it's good for my heart? Well, it's good for a lot of things, especially longevity, mitochondria. It's great for a lot of things. So when somebody goes to the market or they go somewhere and look for CoQ10, there are 1 million bottles of CoQ10. When you look on the back, it's ubiquinol, ubiquinone, CoQ10. What do I take? That's why I love the DNA component, right? So there's a gene that actually shows me which one somebody should take, which is kind of cool, right? Ubiquinol or ubiquinone. But if you do a combo, you're safe. So a 50-50 mix of ubiquinol and ubiquinone. It's not cheap, but those are the active forms of CoQ10. It's more bioavailable to the body, so those would be good to take as well. And that's good for a lot of stuff, especially longevity and anti-aging also.
You are just...
I could give you a list. You take all your essential micronutrients, ADEKs, all those things. Micros are great. You have to have protein in the day. I mean, there's just so many. It's kind of a job.
It can be overwhelming.
Get the right nutrients. It can, but it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to be. Exactly. You can keep it simple, and people, they don't you'll hear everybody say a different thing and stuff, and you don't know where to listen or who to listen to. Trust me, everybody, Jen knows what she is talking about. She is one of the best, smartest that I've been around, and I've been around a ton in this field. Would it be too much to ask you, Jen, if you have a list that we can put in the show notes for anybody listening so that they can feel like, okay, I know all the things I need to be taking, and boom, this is Jen approved? Is that doable?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Fast.
Yeah, no, I have no problem. And am I going to lead you to a couple that I have formulated, which I no longer
should.
I don't profit from these things anymore. I did my part. I moved on. However, I still stand firm and stand by everything I've ever formulated because I won't formulate anything I don't believe in. So
Totally. Well, where can we all find you? And we can find more about GOEXEC and education on BioPQQ. Give us that whole rundown.
So GOEXEC.com, it's GOEXEC.com, pretty simple. I write the blog, so the blog's about BioPQQ, about the other great ingredients, Vitaline, Elevate ATP, L-citrulline, they're all on there, as well as just some other informative and nice to know blogs. Instagram is Jen_GOEXEC. GOEXEC Nutraceuticals is GOEXEC_Nutraceuticals. Find me on Instagram and I'll...
You're easy to find. GOEXEC, it'll pop up, and we'll link to everything in the show notes for sure. Is that all the places? Is that where you're gonna? It sounds like.
So yeah. That's the other interesting thing, right? The one thing I said as a CEO I never wanted to do is my own social media. Well, guess what? Doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way, no. But that's part of it because it is awareness. And when you are on a mission for a bigger purpose, that awareness, you feel that. And CEOs, and that's when CEOs are very successful and entrepreneurs are successful, when they know they have a calling to share a message and give people a better life and a better hope. That is what you are doing, Jen Milks. Thank you so much for coming on the David Nurse Show and gracing us with your presence.
Appreciate you. Have a good day.